From intense debates over transgender athletes to groundbreaking protests, here is everything you need to know about why the Olympics has changed forever. The upcoming Paris 2024 Olympics are set to be one of the most talked about games in history, but not necessarily for the reasons you might expect. Beyond the usual anticipation for action, the spotlight is now on a series of controversies that are reshaping the Olympics in totally new ways. Let's dive into the doping scandals first. These have always been a thorn in the side of the Olympics, but recent events have brought them to the forefront more than ever. In the lead-up to Paris 2024, several high-profile athletes have been disqualified or face sanctions due to doping violations. Names that once inspired their countries are now associated with dishonor and deceit. This wave of disqualifications is not just a series of isolated incidents. It's part of a broader, more aggressive crackdown on doping. In response to these scandals, the International Olympic Committee has introduced new, stricter anti-doping measures. The testing protocols for Paris 2024 are more rigorous than ever before, aiming to catch violators early to try and maintain the integrity of the competition. Random checks, enhanced biological passport scrutiny, and advanced testing methods are all part of this initiative. The message is clear: there is no place for doping in the Olympics. The public reaction to these measures has been mixed. While many applaud the efforts to clean up the sport, there's also a growing sense of disillusionment. Fans who once cheered for their favorite athletes now question the legitimacy of their achievements. On the other hand, clean athletes feel a bittersweet mix of relief and frustration. They are relieved that the playing field is finally being leveled, but frustrated that their hard work and dedication is overshadowed by the constant talk of doping scandals. Next, let's talk about something I never thought we would: protest policies. The IOC's Rule 50 restricts athletes from protesting during the games, but this has not stopped many from planning high-profile protests. In the current social and political climate, athletes feel more empowered than ever to use their platforms to speak out on important issues. From racial equality to climate change, the causes are varied, but the determination to be heard is universal. Leading up to Paris 2024, several athletes have already made headlines with their activism. For instance, some have taken a knee during national anthems, while others have used social media to voice their concerns. The IOC has been caught in a difficult position, balancing the need to maintain the traditional spirit of the games with the undeniable right of athletes to express themselves. This tension is reshaping the public's perception of the Olympics, turning it into not just a sports event but a powerful platform for change. The impact of these protests on the image of the Olympics cannot be overstated. On one hand, they highlight the game's relevance in today's world, showing that athletes are not just competitors, but also influential voices in global conversations. On the other hand, the controversy surrounding these protests risks alienating some fans who view the Olympics as a time to set aside politics and focus solely on sports. Now, moving on to one of the most controversial issues in recent Olympic history: transgender athlete participation. The inclusion of transgender athletes in the Olympics has ignited heated debates about fairness and competitive balance. The IOC's policies for transgender athletes have been met with both support and criticism. While the committee aims to promote inclusivity and equal opportunity, critics argue that these policies may compromise the integrity of the competition. Specific cases of transgender athletes set to compete at Paris have drawn intense scrutiny. For instance, some athletes who transitioned from male to female are competing in women's events, raising questions about potential physical advantages. The public and media responses have been polarized. Supporters emphasize the importance of inclusivity and the right of all athletes to compete, while opponents fear that these athletes may have an unfair advantage, potentially impacting the outcomes of events and the distribution of medals. The implications of these policies are far-reaching. On the one hand, they represent a significant step forward for transgender rights and visibility in sports. On the other hand, they raise complex questions about what constitutes fair competition. As these athletes prepare to compete on the world stage, the debates surrounding their participation will likely intensify, influencing how future policies are shaped. Next, let's look at other gender equality issues, which is another critical area where the Olympics is evolving. Despite efforts to promote gender equality, funding concerns, facilities, and media coverage between male and female athletes continue. Female athletes often find themselves at a disadvantage, struggling to receive the same level of support and recognition as their male counterparts. One of the main challenges female athletes face is achieving equal pay. While there have been a few improvements, there are still massive gaps. Efforts to achieve fair pay for female athletes participating at Paris have been ongoing, but there are still many obstacles in the path. This fight for fairness is not just about making more money. It's about ensuring that female athletes receive the same respect and support as their male peers. Sexism and harassment within the Olympic community have also come to light, prompting the IOC to take action. Reports of sexism and harassment have highlighted the need for a cultural shift within the Olympic movement. The IOC has implemented measures to address these issues, but the road to a truly inclusive and respectful environment is still long. The fact that we're here talking about the gender equality issues has a profound impact on the morale of female athletes and the public's perception of the Olympics. While progress is being made, the fact is that the inequalities serve as a reminder that there is still work to be done, and a lot of it. The spotlight on these issues during the Paris 2024 Games could drive further change, pushing the Olympic movement towards a more equal future. The combination of these controversies paints a concerning picture of what the Olympics might look like if these issues continue to evolve unchecked over the next 4 years. Imagine a scenario where doping scandals become even more sophisticated, making it harder to detect performance-enhancing drugs. If athletes and their teams find new ways to evade detection, the integrity of the competition could be severely compromised. This raises the question, will future Olympic champions be seen as legitimate, or will their victories always be shadowed by doubt? Then think about the ongoing debates about transgender athlete participation. If the current policies are not refined to balance fairness and inclusivity, what will the future hold for competitive sports? Will we see more divisions and perhaps even separate categories to address this? How will this impact the spirit of unity and global competition that the Olympics aim to foster? How will the future of Olympics ever be the same again? The current woke culture has dirtied the water of a once world-class event. Gender equality remains another critical challenge. If the disparities in funding, media coverage, and support for female athletes persist, it could lead to a significant decline in the participation and performance of women in sports. Female athletes might feel increasingly demotivated, knowing that their efforts will not receive the same recognition or reward as their male counterparts. This could set back years of progress made towards gender equality in sports, undoing the hard-won victories of many trailblazing female athletes. The rise of athlete activism and the controversy surrounding protest policies also add to the complexity. If the IOC fails to find a balanced approach to managing protests, it could either stifle important social movements or lead to an overly politicized games. The Olympics could risk alienating a significant portion of its audience, who might view the event as either too restrictive or too chaotic. What does this mean for the future of the Games? Will the Olympics become a battleground for political and social issues, overshadowing the sports themselves? So, as we look towards the Paris 2024 Olympics and beyond, these are the pressing questions we must consider. The decisions made today will shape the future of the Games, influencing whether they remain a beacon of global unity and excellence or become mired in controversy and division. Athletes, fans, and officials alike must grapple with these issues, striving to preserve the integrity and spirit of the Olympics while adapting to an ever-changing world. The Paris Games will undoubtedly be a turning point. The controversies and challenges faced today are set to define the future of the Olympics, pushing the boundaries of tradition and progress. As we witness these historic changes unfold, it's crucial to stay informed and engaged, understanding that the games we love are evolving in real time. What will the Olympics look like in another 4 years? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain: the Games will never be the same again. So from intense debates over transgender athletes to groundbreaking protests, this is why the Olympics has changed forever.